Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns in Oklahoma City to take on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Thunder, two of the best point guards in the Western Conference, going to war. How about Chris Paul, though, setting this matchup off with his defense? It led to offense against his former team. CP3 with the steals and dishes that led to a 7-point Phoenix lead. Chris Paul, though, overall has had a pretty uneventful season this year. The only reason why the Suns have been somewhat in contention has been the stellar play of Devin Booker, a phenomenal run from D-Book. Speaking of great guards in the West, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander hadn't been too shabby himself, one of the league's top scorers, and Gilgeous got the money in this one. SGA, a 21-point first half, just keeping the Thunder in this basketball game. They're trailing by 6 in the third. It's Chris Paul to Booker, reverse layup. And then Booker just pulling out an array of moves in his deep bag. He's got a bag of tricks. Booker, a 17-point third quarter, got the Suns sitting pretty. D-Book had 46 in the game. To beat the third quarter buzzer, it's SGA responding. How about that one? Going plus the foul. Fourth quarter is Lou Dort. The Thunder take the 1-point lead. They hadn't led since it was 2-zip. SGA is calling for the rock later in the fourth. He maybe gets away with a push-off. It wasn't called. When you're that great, you get calls that go your way. And SGA takes advantage. He had 40 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists to out-duel Devin Booker and the Suns and help the Thunder get a much-needed 124-120 win. They're now 35-36 on the season. Phoenix falls to 38-33 on the season. That's why I keep telling people this is not a freaking super team in Phoenix. They need Kevin Durant. If this were a super team, the Suns will be able to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder at this point in the year by at least 8 points, even on the road. At this point in the year, this is not a super team. What are people talking about? Everybody keep telling me Phoenix Suns are a super team. Where? What was DeAndre Ayton last night? What was the super team member DeAndre Ayton? Chris Paul made a few plays in this game. Chris Paul ain't been great all year. I'm one of the biggest Chris Paul supporters you'll find out there. Not the biggest, but one of the biggest. Chris Paul ain't had a good year by his metrics. They paid him $40 million of them things a year. He has not been great this year. It's not been a good year for Chris Paul. It's been his worst of his career, to be honest. I know he's getting older. It's not been a good year for Chris Paul. And I have never been the biggest Devin Booker supporter. So when I say this, you know it comes from the heart. CP3 ain't gave Devin Booker any favors this year. He ain't bailed Book out. Book been pretty much on his own. It's been a solo act in Phoenix this year. And they lost their depth with Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson being gone. You trade those guys for Kevin Durant, and he ain't been around. This was a risky move by Phoenix just because Kevin Durant has not been able to stay healthy. Other than that, you got to make the move. You're bringing in a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest scorers in the history of the game, and KD. But he ain't ready to go. He got hurt in warm-ups after 3 games after returning from another injury. They traded for Durant when he was injured, and he's injured again. I'm listening to Phoenix, and they're saying if it were a playoff game, Kevin Durant would be ready to go. He'd be playing. That bothers me because, to me, these are playoff games. The Suns have not locked themselves into any playoff spot out west. We think they're going to be one of the teams to make it. But if they lose a few more games, we shall see. They're at 33, 34 losses. The Lakers are at 37. They're not that far from being out of the play-in tournament. I'm just saying this is not a super team. This will be a team for the next couple of years dominated by the greatness of Kevin Durant and Devin Booker on offense, and we'll see if they're able to round out the roster with players that are able to fill roles that they need. Obviously, DeAndre Ayton is a guy that plays right underneath an all-star level. Chris Paul, first ballot Hall of Famer, that is probably way past his best days. This is not a super team in Phoenix. A super team would be able to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder at this point in the year without Kevin Durant.